Ladies and gentlemen, with only 11 days to go for the 2024 Mahabharat, the war for the minority vote has reached a feverish pitch. While on the one hand, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has built BJP's political campaign on his mantra of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, on the other hand, the India partners are vying amongst each other to get a share of the Muslim vote pie. Let's tell you why the Muslim votes matter for the Vipaksh. In 2019 Lok Sabha elections, only 8% of Muslims voted for the BJP, but 30% of Muslims across India voted for the Congress party. In Bengal, 70% of the Muslims voted for the Trinamool Congress, while 77% Muslims in Bihar voted for the RJD. In Tamil Nadu, Congress and DMK together picked up 74% of the minority votes, while 73% of this vote bank back in Uttar Pradesh went to the Samajwadi Party and BSP combined. In Jharkhand, Congress and JMM managed to clinch 78% of the Muslim votes, and this perhaps explains why the Congress in its manifesto has categorically stated that there is no place for majoritarianism in India. It has also promised to oppose uniform civil code and ensure minorities have personal laws which will be either reversed or allowed to continue. Now, questions are being raised about the Congress party's selectivism. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today lashed out at the Congress party, saying its sole aim was to do Bharat ke tukre tukre. He even compared it to the manifesto of Muhammad Ali Jinnah's Muslim League, which gave the call to divide India along religious lines. Prime Minister Modi said that there is an imprint of the Muslim League's manifesto and its thoughts in the manifesto of the Congress party. This view was also echoed by BJP President JP Nadda. Listen in to them accuse the Congress of dividing India in a blind bid to appease one section of India.
कांग्रेस खुलकर बांटो और राज करो के खेल पर उतर आई है। कांग्रेस ने अपना जो घोषणा पत्र निकाला है उसमें भी मुस्लिम लीग की भाषा लिखी गई है। क्या ये आपको मंजूर है? ये देश स्वीकार करेगा?
मैंने कांग्रेस के मैनिफेस्टो को देखा, मुझे आश्चर्य हुआ कि यह कांग्रेस पार्टी का मैनिफेस्टो है या मुस्लिम लीग का मैनिफेस्टो। जिस मुस्लिम लीग ने 1929 में धर्म के आधार पर आरक्षण की बात कही थी, आज उसी बात को कांग्रेस पार्टी दोहरा रही है।
The BJP has pulled out from the archives the Muslim League's manifesto of 1936. They claim that Muslim League had promised to protect Sharia personal laws, while the Congress promises personal laws to Muslims. BJP has also pointed out that both Muslim League in 1936 and Congress party in 2024 have promised to fight against majoritarianism. The BJP has also drawn a parallel, saying both Muslim League of 1936 and Congress party have promised special scholarships and jobs only for Muslims. An irate Congress party has now complained to the Election Commission, saying that the BJP is back to the ghisi-piti narrative of the Hindu-Muslim divide just before elections. Their allies also quickly waded into this entire political spectrum supporting the Congress party.
श्यामा प्रसाद मुखर्जी जनसंघ के स्थापक जो थे, हिंदू महासभा के अध्यक्ष थे और वो मुस्लिम लीग के साथ उन्होंने गठबंधन की सरकार बनाई थी बंगाल में। तो आज कांग्रेस की बात करते हैं, ये हमेशा विभाजनकारी राजनीति अपनाते हैं।
10 साल के बाद बजाय अपना काम गिनाने के, 10 साल के बाद बजाय अपना रिपोर्ट कार्ड दिखाने के, नरेंद्र मोदी आज भी हिंदू मुसलमान की बात कर रहे हैं।
आज इलेक्शन कमीशन के सामने हमने रखी हैं, उसमें कुछ हमारी पुरानी आपत्तियां थी जिस पर अभी हम संतुष्ट नहीं हैं। जो उन्होंने बात ये कही है हमारे मैनिफेस्टो के बारे में कि झूठ का पुलंदा है, इसका हमें बड़ा दुख है, उसका कटाक्ष कर सकते हैं। लेकिन ये कहना कि एक राष्ट्रीय स्तर की पार्टी जो हमारे राष्ट्रीय आंदोलन में सम्मिलित रही, वो ऐसा झूठ का पुलंदा अपने मैनिफेस्टो में लिखेगी।
The fact that the BJP has so much spare time that they will read manifestos from an organization that ceased to be relevant in this country at the point of independence tells you a lot about the BJP.
But is the Prime Minister right when he says that Congress is guided by appeasement? Let's remind you how the Congress party has opposed CAA because it excluded Muslims from the list of minorities. Now, you know that people who have been given CAA are people who are minorities in the neighboring countries of Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh. There are no minority Muslims in any of these countries. However, the Congress party has also opposed the abrogation of Article 370, and P. Chidambaram had said that this law is because of religious fanaticism. Congress has also opposed the UCC, saying a uniform civil code that national interests are distinct from BJP's political ambitions. And the Congress opposed triple talaq as well, criminalization on the grounds that this law class specific and on basis of religion and should be avoided, not worrying about women who have been at the receiving end. Women and their rights certainly not on top of the Congress party's agenda. So these have been the antecedents of the Congress party, which clearly the BJP is targeting at this moment. So ladies and gentlemen, the legitimate question that we're asking on the news hour tonight: is appeasement guiding Congress ka haath? That's the question, and that's the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining the debate tonight, national spokesperson of the BJP, Dr. Ajay Alok, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author and political scientist, Manoj Yadav, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. But my first question goes to Kamru Zaman Chaudhary. Congress leader, political analyst, supports the Congress party, call him what you will, but questions are now being raised. Questions are being raised, Kamru Zaman Chaudhary, on why appeasement is such an important part. You may have gone to the Election Commission to complain against the Prime Minister, but the similarities that have been pointed by the BJP between the Muslim League manifesto and the Congress manifesto cannot be denied by anybody.
Well, good evening, Navika. I hope you let me clarify the points that are there in the manifesto. First and foremost, those criticizing the Congress manifesto and particularly our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he could have criticized the manifesto on its merit, but for that he needs to have a basic grasp of the subject. You know, even Modi's scriptwriters are aware of his limitations. So they would rather have him stick to his patent Hindu-Muslim appeasement, Pakistan Muslim League. You know, basically this is a shame. You know, when you go into specifics of your editorial that you have just now read out to the public, let me just get you head on point by point. When you speak about the personal law, what does the Congress manifesto say on the personal law? And I'm quoting verbatim. We will encourage reform of personal laws. Such reform must be undertaken with the participation and consent of the communities concerned. Nowhere it is written that we will do away with the UCC provisions. Secondly, you have spoken about majoritarian. Now, what does majoritarian speak of? It speaks of how the BJP government had suspended all the opposition MPs and passed or bulldozed laws during the last parliament session that the entire country has seen it. When you speak about the CAA, let's be very practical. Even today, your favorite Chief Minister Hemanta Biswa Sharma, he said that in Assam, out of 20 lakh people who have failed the NRC test, only 1% had applied for the CAA. And in Bengal, out of the crores of Bengali Hindus, rather the Mathua communities, none have applied for the CAA after Amit Shah had notified the rules. Now, when you come to the triple talaq, where we have been asking for the data on the number of trickle talaq cases that have been registered in the country. The concerned ministry have so far failed to furnish the data of this. Now, what does the manifesto say, the Congress manifesto? It says, we will restore the Maulana Azad scholarships for study abroad and increase the number of scholarships. Is this somehow minority appeasement? This scholarship was continued from time immemorial for the minority students. It never says that it is meant only for the Muslims. Even a Jain, even a Bodh or a Christian can avail of this scholarship. You have said the economic empowerment of minorities is a necessary step for India to realize its full potential. We will ensure that banks will provide institutional credit to minorities without discrimination. Now, where does the manifesto say that targeted development of the minorities who are relegated to such an economic deprivation in the Indian society will not be permitted? It is but natural for the majority community and for the government of any order, whether it be the Bharatiya Janata Party or the Congress or any other government.
You are completely papering over the fact. You are completely papering over the fact that your manifesto says Congress will ensure minorities have personal laws. My friend, 75 years since India has been free, could we move on to a more equal society rather than hiding behind personal laws? Do you want children or girls, young girls, to get married, at ages below 18 years? You want to only talk about personal laws because it is the Muslim vote bank. And Anand Ranganathan, I want to ask you, Anand Ranganathan, why is the Congress party so hell-bent on 1 minute now? Kamru Zaman Chaudhary, you spoke for 3 minutes. I did not interrupt you. Now, let's be a little democratic and allow others also to come into the debate. Anand Ranganathan, do you agree or not agree that Muslim League comparison is fair and just for the Congress's manifesto, or do you think the Prime Minister has been unfair?
Good evening, Navika. I think it's fair, because if it isn't, then I have a few rhetorical questions to ask my good friend Kamruji, and I hope after I am done, he would answer those. If the Congress is not indulging in appeasement, Muslim appeasement, then let it do these 5 or 6 things. Number one, let it support the UCC. If it doesn't support the UCC and goes for personal laws, then let it abrogate the changing of the Hindu code, bringing of the Hindu code bills that Pandit Nehru did. Why should only the Hindus have their laws reformed or restructured? Number one. Number two, if it is not appeasing, then let it abrogate the abrogation of the Supreme Court Shah Bano verdict, because that was the first step towards pseudo-secularism and appeasement to the Muslims. And the Supreme Court said that a poor widow should be given 200 rupees. And because of the Muslims' outcry, the Congress overturned the Supreme Court decision. If the Congress is not appeasing, then let it also say the Congress will bring a law that would control the mosques as the government controls the Hindu temples. Let it do so. I will agree that Congress is not appeasing. If the Congress is not appeasing, then let it say that RTE will not be used in conjunction with the 93rd Amendment as well as Articles 28 and 30 that allow or that structure and order only the Hindu-run schools to give reservations to EWS and do not force the Muslim-run schools to do so. If the Congress is not into appeasement, then let it say it will not give salaries to Maulvis, that it will not have state-controlled iftar parties, that it will not have these functions that are paid for by the state, for example, including the Hajj subsidy. Let it say so. The question out here is this, that the Congress is heavily indulged in Muslim appeasement because that is where most of its votes that otherwise would go to other people come to it, including Wayanad, where the demography shows. Why did Rahul Gandhi go to Wayanad to fight? And finally, this is very important. You see, this canard that is being spread, that Modi is anti-Muslim, anti-minority. Do you know our Muslim population is 14.2%? Do you know that as many as 31.3% of homes under Awas Yojana, 33% of funds under Kistan Naman Sidhi, 36% beneficiary under Mudra Yojana have been Muslims? So on one hand, you appease the Muslims, On the other hand, you denigrate saying Modi is anti-Muslim when Modi has worked more for the Muslims than Congress ever has. No other prime minister in living memory has done more for the Muslims than Narendra Modi.
Well, let me get in Ajay Alok ji. Ajay Alok ji, I want to pick up the statement made by Mallikarjun Kharge, Congress president. And you know what he says? He says that it is the RSS and the ancestors of the BJP which actually were in cahoots with the Muslim League when they opposed Quit India movement in 1942. He also says that Shama Prasad Mukherjee formed his governments in Bengal, Sindh and Northwest Frontier Province in the 1940s in coalition with the Muslim League. So he's clearly trying to turn around the narrative and say that ahead of the partition, it was actually your ancestors or your acolytes, people who follow the same ideology as you, who were in league with the Muslim League. How do you respond to this statement of Mallikarjun Kharge?
Well, Kharge ji keep on making statements which has no value and no basics. Everybody knows what were the ideas of Veer Savarkar and what were the ideas of people who were attached to the RSS before partition. We always recognized late Subhash Chandra Bose as the first Prime Minister of the undivided India, because later on India got divided on the basis of religious lines and India and Pakistan were created with two separate Prime Ministers. See, in today's context you have to look into many things, and it always runs during election. I'll make you remember 2018 when Rahul Gandhi famously said Congress Musalmanon ki party hai, in an interview given to an Urdu journal called Inqilab, and Mumtaz Ahmad was the editor. He also clarified and he said, yes, Rahul Gandhi did say that hum Musalmanon ki party hai. Just after that, in Madhya Pradesh election, you must have heard Kamal Nath saying all these things. We want each and every votes of Muslims. So now this kind of a manifesto, it's a clear-cut indication that the Congress wants to give a message to the Muslim community that yes, we are here for you and we'll do it for you. So you just get us elected to the power, we'll do it. When Rahul Gandhi went to Srinagar, he also said that we will just restore 370. I mean, all this kind of nonsense Congress has been making, and this is sad because still very little now, but still it remains the principal opposition party of the country and in the current situation. They may deteriorate after election. Let's see how much down they go. But this kind of an evil idea which is transgressing into the minds of the people of India is very disturbing for our country, where a grand old political party is thinking in terms of religion. Just imagine what were the demands in 1929 by the Jinnah. It's all in the same line. Congress says we'll empower minorities, as if minorities have not been empowered in the last 50 years. We will ensure minority receives their fair share of opportunities in education, healthcare, public employment, public works, contracts, skill development, sports, cultural activities without discrimination. Who was discriminating? We were not in the power in the last 60 years. Why you write without discrimination? They want to give an idea that we are discriminating, and right now Anand said that how much beneficiary the minority population has been under Modi. Now here the question, the language. Congress will ensure, like every citizen, minorities have the freedom of choice of dress, food, language and personal laws. If you are giving somebody a choice of personal law, how can you support UCC? You cannot. Now if tomorrow a group of minorities or a group of Muslims start saying, like the famous Iqbal said in the Constitutional Committee, that we want Sharia law for ourselves, will Congress agree to it? They will agree. They have not written it, but that means they will agree that, okay, fine, you want Sharia, we'll keep Sharia. So this is the basic problem to what Prime Minister has objected and to what JP Nadda has reacted.
Let me also point out, you know, when Ajay Alok says this, he has a point, because if your manifesto says that you will take, you know, you will request the minorities and other communities to build a consensus, why haven't you built that consensus in the 60 years that you've been in power? That is because you probably don't want to change those laws. Point number one. Point number two, I also have a question on the language used by Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, the Congress president. He says there is a stink of RSS in Modi ji's speeches. I want to ask you, stink? Is that a manner in which you will refer to an organization like the RSS? You may think it is, a bad organization, an organization that should be called names, but to refer to it in such a manner, is that justified? And what about all the social work that they've done over the years, over the decades?
This is laughable. You know, one organization, the world's largest NGO, does not fit to submit a books of accounts to the government of India. Leave aside that. You know, first thing first, when you speak about the RSS, the BJP, and how India came into being prior to 1947, you know, Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, the ideologue of Ajay Alok out here, wrote a letter to Lord Mountbatten telling him that India must be partitioned. He also opposed a failed bid for a united but independent Bengal made in 1947 by Sarad Bose, the brother of Subhash Chandra Bose and Hussain Shahid Surwardi. This same Subhash Chandra Bose, whom these people of the Kangana Ranawat fame tell that he proposed, he was the first Prime Minister of India, whereas they forget that he was the Prime Minister of the provincial India. Same way that Lokpriya Gopinath Bordoloi was once the Prime Minister of Assam. We have all traversed those paths. Don't try to change the history to suit your narratives. When you speak about, the UCC, the abrogation of the Hindu code, or the Muslim control over the mosque rather than the government's control over the temples, this is a progressive Indian society. And when you speak about the child marriage,
progressive Indian society does not talk about sending all children or students abroad. It talks about Muslim students going abroad. It doesn't talk about rights of women in the minority community, which have not kept pace with the rest of the world, but it talks about continuing the same laws for these women. You know, you're talking about progressive India. Sounds absolutely hypocritical at this moment, Kamru Zaman. But let me get in Manoj Yadav ji. Manoj Yadav ji, ये जो इतना एम्फसिस है, जो कहा जा रहा है पर्सनल लॉज को रखा जाएगा, ये सचमुच कांग्रेस जो अपने मैनिफेस्टो में लिख रही है, प्रधानमंत्री ने जो कहा है कि मुस्लिम लीग के मैनिफेस्टो की तरह लग रहा है, तो कैसा, क्या गलत कहा है इसमें? क्या आज भी आप चाहेंगे कि वही चीजें मुसलमान लड़कियां करें जो शायद मॉडर्न डे इंडिया में बाकी किसी भी कम्युनिटी में लड़कियां नहीं कर रही हैं? क्या दोनों के हक बराबर नहीं होने चाहिए?
नाविका जी, आपको बहुत नमस्कार। मेरा काफ़ी दिनों के बाद आपके साथ चर्चा में हूं। पैनल में बैठे सभी साथियों को भी मेरा नमस्कार। बड़ी बेहतरीन चर्चा हो रही है, लेकिन चर्चा ऐसी हो रही है जो पर्चे पे नहीं है। बीजेपी के सवालों का जवाब दूं, आपके सवालों का जवाब दूं, उससे पहले एक पंच दे दूं बीजेपी को। लोक तिलक की करो तैयारी, आ रहे हैं संविधानधारी। 2024 में दिल्ली की गद्दी पे बैठने के लिए संविधान को मानने वाले लोग आ रहे हैं। मुस्लिम लीग का घोषणा पत्र है या मुसलमानों की बात कहने वाले दलों का घोषणा पत्र है या उनकी सरकार है, ये बीजेपी की मजबूरी है कहना। देश के प्रधानमंत्री के पास 10 साल के बाद भी उनकी जिह्वा से, मैं माफ करूं, अमृत काल में उनकी जिह्वा से सिर्फ जहर ही निकल रहा। नरेंद्र मोदी जी आपके चैनल के माध्यम से सुन लें, और मैं उनको सुना भी रहा हूं कायदे से। मोदी जी, आप इस देश के मुसलमानों से प्यार क्यों नहीं करते? क्या आप विदेशों में रह रहे जो दूसरे देश के मुसलमान हैं, जो अमीर हैं, जो खलीफा हैं, शेख हैं, सिर्फ उन्हीं से प्यार करते हो? अच्छा चलो, ये भी बात मैं ना मानता, आप पाकिस्तान के भी मुसलमानों से बड़ा प्यार करते हो। अभी हाल में एक उदाहरण है कि बिना वीजा पासपोर्ट के एक मुस्लिम महिला भारत में रह रही है। लेकिन भारत के मुसलमानों की अगर कोई भी बात होगी, उनके हक अधिकार की बात होगी, तो नरेंद्र मोदी जी के पेट में पता नहीं कौन सी ऐठन होने लगती है। नरेंद्र मोदी का पेट से मतलब है आरएसएस के और बीजेपी के पेट में। क्यों? आप इस चुनाव में तो डेवलपमेंट की बात होनी चाहिए थी, आपने बात क्यों नहीं करी? मैनिफेस्टो के अगेंस्ट मैनिफेस्टो की बात होनी चाहिए थी। आप मुस्लिम लीग पे क्यों चले गए? इसका मतलब आप इस देश के राष्ट्रभक्त प्रधानमंत्री नहीं हो। जो अपनी देश की एक बड़ी आबादी के हिस्से के विरोध में बोलता है। लेकिन जब वो कतर जाता है, जब सऊदी जाता है, दुबई जाता है, तो वहां पे बड़ा प्यार दिखाता है, क्योंकि उन मुसलमानों की बॉडी से बड़ी अच्छी खुशबू आती है, बड़े अच्छे और अमीर लोग होते हैं। बीजेपी ऑल टाइम, यू नो, आई नो कि बीजेपी लव पूंजीपति, बिग मैन, रिच मैन। तो मेरे ख्याल से बीजेपी ने अपने आप को एक्सपोज कर लिया इस चुनाव से पहले कि बीजेपी ना तो राष्ट्रवादी है, ना देशभक्त है, ये सिर्फ पूंजीपति, और वो सिर्फ देश के पूंजीपति नहीं, पूरी दुनिया के पूंजीपति और अमीर लोगों को पसंद करने वाला
अजय आलोक जवाब दे रहे हैं। अजय आलोक हाथ उठा रहे हैं, जवाब दे रहे हैं।
पता चला नाविका जी कि इस वजह से बीजेपी लगातार नविका जी, इसीलिए बीजेपी पूंजीपतियों की बात कर
नविका जी,
बात समझ में आ गई। अजय आलोक जी जवाब दे रहे हैं।
अजय आलोक हिंदी बिकॉज़ ही वोंट अंडरस्टैंड प्रॉपर्ली देन।
जी आप बोलिए।
या आई एम रिप्लाइंग इन हिंदी बिकॉज़ दैट विल बी इजीियर।
जवाब दे दो,
देखिए
समझ लेंगे तुम्हारी
हमें सर्टिफिकेट अब ये मनोज यादव वगैरह बांटेंगे, अंग्रेज मनोज यादव जी, अब आप सर्टिफिकेट हमें बांटेंगे, बीजेपी को बांटेंगे, नरेंद्र मोदी को बांटेंगे। आप ऐसी पार्टी से संपर्क रखते हैं महोदय जिसने इस देश में आतंकवादियों को छोड़ दिया था क्योंकि वो मुसलमान थे। ये सच है कि नहीं है? और आपको कोर्ट ने फटकार लगाई थी, तब जाके वो वापस जेल में पहुंच पाए थे। आप बिल्कुल नहीं
बात करो,
हमें समझाइए कि राष्ट्रवाद का क्या मतलब होता है, देशभक्त का क्या मतलब होता है। बात हो रही थी कांग्रेस के मैनिफेस्टो की, प्रधानमंत्री की बात नहीं हो रही थी। कांग्रेस का मैनिफेस्टो जिस तरह है उसमें तुष्टीकरण की बू आती है, जिसके चैंपियन आप भी हैं। अब चूंकि कांग्रेस और आपका गठबंधन हो गया है तो इसलिए आपको कांग्रेस का मैनिफेस्टो उतना बुरा नहीं लग रहा है, नहीं तो सबसे ज्यादा चीखने वाले आप ही होते। 2019 का वो इलेक्शन मुझे याद है, या कांग्रेस के मैनिफेस्टो पे सबसे ज्यादा चीखने वाले पार्टी आप थे, क्योंकि आपका गठबंधन तब कांग्रेस से नहीं हुआ था। नहीं याद आता हो, आप तो शायद उस वक्त थे नहीं 19 में। अपने पार्टी के नेताओं का बयान निकाल लीजिए कांग्रेस के मैनिफेस्टो पे 2019 में आप क्या बोल रहे थे। बात हो रही है यहाँ पे देश को एक सूत्र में बांधने की, न कि धर्म और उसके आधार पर बांटने की। ये इनका मैनिफेस्टो कहता है कि धर्म के आधार पर विधानसभाओं में भी आरक्षण कर दो, धर्म के आधार पर पार्लियामेंट में भी आरक्षण कर दो, धर्म के आधार पर किसी को आगे बढ़ाते रहो। क्या ये देश का संविधान मानता है? बड़ा आप संविधान मानने वाले हो गए हैं। थोड़ा पढ़ लिख के आया कीजिए कि कांग्रेस के मैनिफेस्टो में क्या है और कांग्रेस क्या बोलना चाह रही है।
आनंद रंगनाथन और मनोज यादव जी जब चुटकी लेते हैं कि शायद बीजेपी को बाहर के मुसलमान ज्यादा पसंद आते हैं, उनमें से ज्यादा अच्छी खुशबू आती है, इत्र वहां का बेटर होता है, तो ये बात सही नहीं है कि इस देश में जितने पार्टियां हैं जो अपीजमेंट करती हैं, कहीं ना कहीं उन्होंने एक रोल अदा किया है मुसलमानों को गरीब रखने में, उनको कम एजुकेटेड रखने में, उनको बराबरी के हिस्सेदार बनाने में। क्या इन सब का कंट्रीब्यूशन नहीं है?
बहुत ही एकदम जिसे कहते हैं नब पे आपने पकड़ा है, बिकॉज ये मेरे को प्लीज 1 मिनट दीजिए नाविका जी, बहुत जरूरी है। आपने एकदम ठीक कहा, मैं आपको डेटा पहले भी दे चुका हूं। बंगाल में जो मुस्लिम की स्थिति है, वो गुजरात के मुस्लिम्स को तो रहने दीजिए, बाकी इंडिया में जो मुस्लिम्स रहते हैं उनसे कहीं बदतर है बंगाल में, जहां बीजेपी ने आज तक अपनी सरकार नहीं बनाई है। तो ये कहना कि बीजेपी एंटी मुस्लिम है और बाकी जगह मुस्लिम्स की स्थिति अच्छी है, एकदम सरासर गलत होगी। नंबर 2, मैंने आपको और डेटा दिया कि नरेंद्र मोदी ने जितना मुस्लिम्स के लिए किया और किसी प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने नहीं किया। पर मैं यहां पर यह भी कहना चाहता हूं, भले ही कांग्रेस ओपनली अपीजमेंट करती है, मैंने बताया, लेकिन पिछले 10 साल से तो कांग्रेस की सरकार नहीं है ना, बीजेपी की है। बीजेपी ने ओपनली अपीजमेंट भले ही नहीं की हो, लेकिन अपीजमेंट जो हुई है वो हटाई भी नहीं है। अगर ये हटाती तो जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ओवरटर्न किया शाहबानो जजमेंट, वो हटा देती, वो नहीं किया। वक्फ एक्ट को हटा देती, वो नहीं किया। प्लेस ऑफ वर्शिप एक्ट जो डिस्क्रिमिनेट करता है हिंदूज, वो नहीं किया। आरटीई का अमेंडमेंट 93 के साथ जो है वो हटाया नहीं। और सबसे जरूरी बात यह है कि जो बीजेपी कह रही है कि आप कॉमन लॉज, पर्सनल लॉज लाना चाहते हो, यूसीसी नहीं लाना चाहते। मैं पूछना चाहता हूं, क्या उत्तराखंड में जो यूसीसी बीजेपी लाई है उसमें ट्राइबल्स एग्जेम्प्ट नहीं है? तो ये किस तरह का यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड हुआ जहां पे एक कम्युनिटी को आपने हटा दिया? अब मुस्लिम्स भी ये कह सकते हैं
that is a debate for another day, but to do it only for appeasement, is that justified, is a question that we ask the people of India. And Ajay Alok, the point here is, आनंद रंगनाथन आपके पीछे पड़े हैं कि आपने जो हटाना था वो भी नहीं हटाया, दूसरे आपके पीछे पड़े हैं कि आप चाहते ही नहीं कि मुसलमानों को कुछ मिले। अब where is the balance of न्याय going to stop?
Well, Navika, the balance of Nyaya is always there when the Prime Minister Modi is there. We always believe sabka saath, sabka prayas, sabka vishwas, sabka saath. You cannot afford to ignore the 14.2% population of Muslims who are residing in this country, and not all of them. Majority of them think that India is their country and they love it. We are sure about that, and we are working for those. For few rogue elements, due to which the whole Muslim community comes under the scanner of other people, is basically because of political parties like Congress, Samajwadi Party, Rashtriya Janata Dal and all. But in vegetarian, they are Indian and the country's interest lies the supreme. So, Prime Minister always thinks to take everybody along, and that's why in all the developmental schemes you will see that the Muslims comes. Of course, the appeasement politics which has been there, like there has been demand of repealing the Places of Worship Act and other things which have been there, like Shahbanu case, what he mentioned, Anand. All these things are there. But gradually it is sinking in the minds of people that yes, Muslims have been appeased for the last 60 years and at the same time exploited.
Well, in
Nobody
which
has worked for
in which case are you saying it's going to take you another couple of terms or maybe 4 terms to correct all the appeasement milestones of the past? Well, we'll have to wait and watch what people of India really choose and demand. But the question really here is, when Rahul Gandhi actually chooses to fight elections from Wayanad with a 41% Muslim population, and that seems to be the only safe seat for him. And that's not something that I'm saying. Annie Raja, the contestant against Rahul Gandhi, said that if his fight is with the BJP, why is he choosing a seat which is leading him to fight with the left parties, which are his alliance partners in the national stage? Or is it only because he can't find another safe seat? Either which way, when you look at it, the Prime Minister and his Muslim League warning will ring true in many people's ears. We'll leave it at that and we'll wait for what the Election Commission has to say on this. But thank you very much to all my panelists for joining me on debate number 1.